Usually in the innovation process, you only observe the final product of the outcome of an organization. For example, we see Apple's iPhones. We don't see all the processes or all the projects and all the people who were involved in the creation of that product. Networks are relationships between different people or different entities. They're very common. Every aspect of life is full of networks. We're all surrounded by social networks, professional networks, all types of different kinds of networks. So this research project really looks at where networks come from and how they influence the ability of groups or teams or individuals to develop new innovations. Well, we primarily focused on open source software. Open source software is a vast area where thousands of people are engaged in writing software, and many of the key technologies that we rely on, such as our mobile phone, the underlying base of the operating system will be open source. Different types of software that we use on the phone will be open source themselves. So open source software is a widely diffused form of software development. It involves teams from all over the world. It's an interesting activity because you find it's highly skewed. So a very small number of projects account for the vast majority of activity. So most open source projects that start never really get launched. Somebody writes something about a project and then nobody follows them. So we've tried to look at what allows people to anticipate the future direction of the community, where people are going to spend their effort, which projects have the greatest potential for generating a highly successful piece of software. We've also tried to look at how the networks of people influence their ability to pick winners or to catch the wave for the next round of innovative activity in the sector. So open source software is developed under what's called the general purpose license. There's 3 versions of the GPL, but I won't go into the details. All of them require the openness of the software to everyone else, and also that if you make any improvements on the software, you have to give back those improvements to the community. And each of the open source projects is governed by a set of principles. It has its own system for deciding which bits of code that are contributed by members of the community are accepted into the core of the software. What's interesting about these communities is there's no central actor, no firm, no government telling people what to do. It's a self-organizing system in a certain respect. But people have a choice about which projects they want to contribute to, and they have to divide their time between different projects. So what we're interested in is what captures the attention of the community. What types of activities, what kinds of problems make them exciting projects for everyone to participate and contribute code to. So the other thing about these communities, which is very interesting from a research perspective, is everything happens online. So all the information about the project, all the communication between different members of the project, all the contributions of code to the project, all of that is left in a repository. So we have almost a complete information on the development of all these projects. Who's been involved at various different stages, who's led the project, who made the most significant contributions to the project, and we can follow these people over time as they work on different projects. That allows us to have a lot of information about what makes a good team for innovative development, what types of projects attract the most people, what kind of motivation people have to contribute to these projects.